And again, I'm going to sand them down a little bit, clean them up just a little bit. I got the detail on the beard now. So I'm just going to run over it a little bit with a little bit of sandpaper. Clean up the eyes and around the nose a little bit more. And take some of those high spots on those V-tool marks. Kind of rounding them over and cleaning them up. Before going to the next step, we'll check them out. He doesn't look too bad with his detail. I could even detail the beard a little bit more. He's starting to get some pretty good detail on him there. So I'm okay with that. Now we got to figure out what exactly do we want to do with this hat. So I'm going to start by seeing if I could take some of this off. Wow, this piece is just so ridiculously hard. Up at the top is where I have that hard spot. Let's see if that'll come out now a little bit. It just does not want to push up. I know it's pretty. There we go. There's that. See that brown stuff? If we get through that, we should be okay, I think. So I'm just going to round this off, and then we'll figure out what type of hat we want to put on here. Kind of hard to hold with the glove, especially when we got bad stuff right there. And when you're using basswood, you ever see this dark stuff? Expect it to give you a hassle. Okay. But if you can carve through it, it usually disappears after a little bit. Sometimes it stays all through the wood, but this piece right here I don't think is going to be too bad. And I don't really know. Makes it kind of hard to hold with the glove, like I said, but can you see that dark area all through here? That will tend to give you a hard time, and it just won't be those nice butter cuts that you like when you're carving with your hand tools. But a lot of times, if you can get through it, it'll clear up, and hopefully it's not all the way through the wood. Okay, now what kind of hat do we want? Oh, pretty much all we gotta do is pop his pupils in and give him some eye bags and some eyelashes, and he'll be done, besides his hat. So I'm gonna think about this for a minute before we move on. Okay, on this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here. We're gonna do a real long type of bent over hat here. Like this. And we're gonna animate that as much as we can. Maybe even make it pointier, not so big up there. Didn't mean to confuse you there, but something like that. Okay? So basically what I want to do is get this to be kind of thin down here. So right there is going to be where I take this off here. Get some of that marker line off and give myself a point coming down this way. All right, and we'll probably run that down and over to here. Just to give myself a start. Okay, to where I want that to be. So hold on a sec, let me get this wood out here so I can see where I'm gonna at least take that to. This is one big thick piece here. All right, and then what I'll do is I'll start trying to shape all this back till I can't see wood here, and I just see my line. All right, and this right here is going to be Let me take this line off for a minute. We'll thin that down later. That's going to be the shape of the hat, all right, that we put on. So I'm going to start cutting all this off, and I'm going to cut this away until I have that, and then we'll figure out, you know, just how much I want to thin that down. All right. Okay, I'm working around shaping this hat, and I wanted to show you guys in the back. You see this spot right here that I ran into? Remember I told you all this wood up here was dark right here, and I was hoping it didn't go through on the other side. Well, that's why it's giving me such a hard time trying to shape this hat, that dark stuff. This apparently goes all the way through the wood. And it's finally starting, there we go, starting to come out. But that one little spot here, and I still have some bad stuff there. And over here, there was another one. And you can run into some bad spots in basswood. Even though it's rare, you do run into them. So I'm shaping this hat down. What I'm going to do is stop cut it all the way around so we can actually get a decent hat on this guy. Okay. Eventually, what I would do if I was going to mount this on a walking stick, like I said, is the plan for this guy anyway. Right. What I'm going to do is carve the whole back, and then I'll put beard hair and stuff on the back also. Maybe not in this video, but that's what I would do. And then I'd hollow out the bottom, and I'd mount him to a stick, and then I would have a little wizard topper on a walking stick. Okay, so I'm going to shape his hat, finish it up, and we'll come back, and we'll do his eyes and some quick eyebrow hair, and he'll be done. Okay, I think he'll look okay. Let's continue. All right, I shaped his hat down. Got a little bit more work to do on him. His beard's looking pretty good. I rounded the hat all the way around, all right? And I'll probably extend the beard hair, you know, all the way around the back. And we'll carve this guy in the round, is what they would call that. Right? He'll be carved all the way around. And he will stand up. But like I said, my plans for him are he's going to be a walking stick topper. I'll mount him on top of a walking stick and lace it up and, you know, bling it out a little bit, and he'll be the top of a walking stick. Let's put some eyes on him. That's pretty much all we have left to do is some eyes, a little bit of detail work, some eye bags maybe, and some eyebrows. So I'm going to take my small little veiner, all right, and we're going to put 2 little eye holes in him. We're going to try and offset them a little bit to the side and get them to go up and underneath that eyelid right there. So I'm going to push in just like that. I don't know if you guys can see this. Maybe I'll blow it up a little. All right, you see that? Going underneath that little eyelid he has. He has an eyelid over here I put in. So I'm going to put this one about the same. I'm going to push straight in, give that gouge a turn, pull it out, and then we're going to take the tip of our knife and we're going to pop those little chips out. All right. I've been showing you a little trick I do with the V-tool. You could try that if you like. You don't have to. All right, that right there is going to be fine as far as eyes go. Or if you want, you can put it with a small V-tool. Like I said, you could put a little cut like that. And a little cut like that. Just to bring those eyes out a little bit. It's just a little trick I use sometimes to give them a little bit more detail. If it's not a realistic carving. Okay. And sometimes that helps to bring those eyes out a little bit. And you do want to make sure you shave that down across the top. I am going to run my V-tool a little bit across that top eyelid to insinuate that a little better. Okay. And I do like to take a little bit of wood out over here at the corners by the temples. So I'm going to take my gouge and scoop a little bit of wood out right there. Going right under the hairline. I'm going to come over here, the same thing, the corner of the eye, and I'm going to scoop a little bit out towards that hairline over here, right? And we'll blend that up a little bit more later on. His nose isn't looking too bad. Doesn't have a big super fancy nose. Again, we just did that with the knife. We could extend these lines down real far, but the video's been going long enough. So I'm not going to be doing too much as far as that goes. I am going to take a little bit more wood out with this big gouge underneath. Okay, making a little bit of a hollow here. And up into that corner. And then I'm going to run my V-tool through there. Just to give him some quick detail and insinuate a bag. All right, one like that, one like that, and you see how that starts bringing out a little bit more detail in his eyes. I can also give him crow's feet and everything, but I'd probably, where's my little knife here, I would shave this down and make all that blend together. Okay. And I could give him some crow's feet at the end of that. Blend it down, and then again blend it up. Just to try and get that transition to be a little bit smoother. All right. And we'll give him some eyebrows with the same thing. You could take a big V-tool, you could take a small V-tool, you could even take a small veiner. This right here is a little tiny needle veiner. And if I wanted to just give him some quick eyebrows that are a little thinner, I would use this gouge. Okay, it's not too thick, they're not really big lines, you just can't dig too deep with it or it'll dig up your wood, because it's meant to take little shallow cuts, okay, to make little shallow lines. So we'll give him some eyebrows with this. Come over here, try and do the same thing. Try not to dig him up too much. And we'll face these using the same pattern, but we'll just go the opposite direction here on the other eyebrow. You see that okay? All right. Just making little tiny small cuts. And this little needle veiner is really good for making small detail lines. Okay, just like that. And I can get some of the finer detail in with that. Like cleaning up here. Even going around the eye like we did there with the V-tool. This would be a good tool to use, right? And again, giving him some extra little detail on the corners. A couple of lines for crow's feet. Or whatever else we wanted to put in here. And that pretty much finishes up this little wizard. All right, it's got a little bit of cleanup. I'd use my 220, and if it was really going to bother me, if I had anything I really wanted to clean up and it was bad, like I said, you always could go to a Dremel and a ruby bit or a diamond bit and just take a real fine point, get in there and clean most of this stuff out. But most of the knife carving and hand tools, like I said, should end up pretty much almost finished cuts when you're done. As you can see, he's going to need very little sanding at this point. And that's why I like to clean him up a little bit in between doing certain stages of the carving. Okay. And then I'll go around a little bit and blend everything together at the end, and it won't be too much as far as a lot of work to clean him up. All right, so his hat's all done. Off camera, before I mount him to a stick, I would carve the rest of the beard back here, would just blend all this back and make his hair and his beard all just be one in the back. Excuse me. And we got another nice little wizard carving. Okay. That will look pretty good on top of a walking stick, we hope. And believe me, when you put these on top of a stick and you bling the stick out a little bit, you know, you put some leather on it and a strap and everything, and they make pretty cool walking sticks. So think of that as a project if you don't know what to do with your small carvings once you start getting good with your knife and hand tools. And you might want to try that. I know that's what I use a lot of these thicker guys for myself. And another thing I like to do is take this little needle veiner and I'll go around and I'll detail just a little bit more around that eye. Okay. Scooping some wood out, going around cleaning up my pupil, maybe making a little bit smaller, putting some corners in. Whatever it takes to make those eyes look a little bit more interesting. A couple little extra bags. And sometimes I'll give him clean up around here, around his nose maybe, you know. So these little micro tools are really nice. So I'll just give him a once over. I'll look at everything up close. I want to clean up under here maybe a little bit, you know. And I'll go around and I'll tweak all those little things. And then when it comes down to it, when he's done, he won't look too bad. I like to give him a little bit more detail in that bag, so I'll cut in there. I'll take the veiner and I'll clean up around that eye right here. I made a little bit of a tight corner here, all right? And over here, a couple extra cuts here and there to give him a little bit more age, okay? I'm trying to stay in the camera here. So it just helps to insinuate a little bit better look, a little bit more age, all right? And then when I sand that down with the sandpaper, it'll look a lot better. Sometimes I just don't like one big ball in there and then just a pupil, so I like to add all this little extra detail with extra bags and little crow's feet. Like I said, any little detail I can stick on a carving like this, I'll try to give him a little bit more, just to make him a little more interesting to look at, all right? And I end up putting lines all over the place. Sometimes I'll even run a line from the eyebrow here into the nose, okay? So I have some wrinkles going from the eye into the nose, all right? So it just depends what's going to work with that carving or not and what I feel like doing, all right? But play with it. I mean, you got these little tools and you can do a lot, all right? So hopefully somebody will like this guy. Once I mount him on top of a walking stick, I'll clean him up and I'll put the hair on the back of him. We'll blend all this back just like that, okay? All this will go back, and I'll detail the whole thing all the way around, and then we'll have a carving in the round, which is what they would call that, okay? And we have ourselves a decent little wizard. And then I'll mount him to a walking stick, and he'll be on his way to the next show or flea market or in my Etsy shop or on eBay or wherever he decides to make his home before I sell him. But I'm going to make him functional, like I said. So I did finish him up. You can see the extra detail in his eyes, all right? The wrinkles in his nose, all right? And I did carve him around the back, all right? So that's what he ended up looking like. And maybe when I mount him to a walking stick, I'll show everybody, and you guys can get the idea. Maybe I'll even show you the process of doing a couple of those, because it's a quick little project that's fun to do, and you can always stick these on the stick. And like I say, and have your own little thing selling walking sticks. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of it, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Bye-bye now.